Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And once again, I'm gonna bring on this guy who likes to do 15-minute intros for some reason. I don't know why, but he does it on his show. It's real crappy, but I got him here. What's up, Jay?
Yeah,
that's hold on, wait. Go ahead.
That's the only motherfucking intro that matter right now, okay? You whistle like a motherfucking man, bro. Oh, I'm sorry, just demonetized you.
That's okay. I can afford the 44 cents.
What, you don't like the 15-minute intros, bro? You don't like the lead-ins? You don't got the build-up of anticipation? Come on, bro.
All right.
You
Tom, how you doing?
18 seconds. You have 18 seconds to tell people what your show is, and then you got to get on with it.
There you go.
And Calderon has that cold now.
You got it's cold, all right. It's cold, all
right. All right. Mr. Sam Vera, please introduce yourself.
What's up? I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera, host of Catch the Craze podcast and creator of Cosmic Wars, which is currently right now on Kickstarter in the last hour.
All
Get
right.
your copy today.
See, Rosario, 18 seconds.
I took more than 18 seconds. Get out of
here. Wes, how you doing? Please introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Wes Hartman, creator of Sky Sharks Remastered, currently on Kickstarter in the last 4 days of the campaign.
All right.
Cool.
Hey, everybody. I'm Gavin Schultz. I'm the artist and co-creator of Tales from 22nd Street in our final 60-ish hours of Kickstarter now. So, yeah, excited to be here.
Cool. Good to have you. So, gentlemen, I'm sure all of you have seen the show question. Or if you haven't, here it is. I'm going to tell you anyway. Do you really care about your fellow indie creators? Right? Like, we're a community. Everybody says we're a community, allegedly, right? And the question really is, I sometimes wonder, do we really give two shits about one another? Right? And the other portion of this question is, why? Right? Why? And Gavin, the way this show works is last man in, first man up. So you're in the hot seat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think, I do care about my fellow indie creators. I heard something very recently. I can't remember. I think it was Monty King, the indie creator of like Bootleg Spider-Man, some other things. But he said, indie comics are the future, but they're also like, it's not a competition. It's kind of like a giant collaboration. So you kind of have to care about what, your fellow creators are doing, and you got to support, because without each other, we could just go away, So yeah, did I do okay?
You're fine. You did fine. Cool. There are no right or wrong answers. Yeah,
I guess I don't care. No, I'm kidding.
That's all right. Only when Jay talks. It's always wrong. Wes, please, what are your thoughts?
I'll say yes, you have to care, but within reason, because I'm very much a head down, do the work, and I stay fairly isolated, but I have generated a bunch of good friendships within the indie community, and those are guys I try to stay up with the most, and I try to meet new people here and there, but there's also a lot of drama I avoid by keeping my nose to the grindstone and focusing on the people that I kind of know the most and am most familiar with. So yes, I care what they're doing, and it's a valuable resource share, because the people I'm friendly with, we share advice, we share talent, we share information, and all that's incredibly valuable, because it avoids a lot of problems that can come up by finding the wrong company doing the wrong thing and costing you a lot of money and time. And so it's very valuable to have good partners within the community. But at the same time, I'm also a guy that I'm gonna put my head down and work, and so I miss a lot as well.
All right. That's fair. Sam, what are your thoughts?
Yes, one of the reasons why we created Catch the Craze podcast, because back in 2005 is because there wasn't a voice for the small guy. And but to Wes's point, there's a limit to that, right? So I have a lot of indie friends. Grew up in this community, but I don't like agendas. I don't like cliques. Where you have to speak a certain way or have the same opinions in order to be part of a community. I like a community that's diverse in thought and artistic value and creativity. But once this starts going, where you can see that there's like a look and feel to this group, I steer away from that because it's always trouble. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I always post when I launch. Hey, anybody wants to cross promote? I'm always looking to share and support wherever I could.
Cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
And now the vinegar upon us. No. So yeah, I think all three of those guys kind of hit it all sort of nail on the head. For me, I appreciate indie creators for a number of different ways, but it doesn't mean appreciating indie creators doesn't mean that you have to appreciate everyone. You have to like everyone. You have to like everybody's book. Like for me, for decades, all I've heard is comics are dying, comics are dying, comics are dying, comics are dying, and yet all I see are people making comics, coming up on their own, making comics. Young people too, like not just dudes that are 50 years old and like it's their dream to make comics. Like I'm seeing 20, 30-year-olds, like they're not just reading comics, but they're making their own comics. So if comics are dying, the way I look at it is how are these new indie creators coming up wanting to make comics? It does the narrative doesn't jive. So that's the big appreciation element is like, it's still here. Comics are still here. These people are making sure comics are still here in one shape or another. So yeah, I have appreciation for people who are doing it, going through the process, going through the struggle. I have appreciation for the people like, Calderon or Rosario who, invite me onto their shows and help me promote what I do. And I try and do that the other direction whenever I can too. So it is a community, but like Sam was talking about, there's cliques. You can either fight and run into walls all you want with that stuff, or you can just essentially just build your own clique and exist in your own bubble, and all of those bubbles never have to touch, and you can still say, you know what, I'm glad those guys in the other bubble are making comics too, because it just raises more awareness for the art form across the board. So yeah, that's kind of where I come at it.
All right, cool. Jay, you've been chomping at the bit since Friday.
Yeah, I can't say you. I really can't fucking stand you. You guys are cool. You're right. I'm definitely joking. And what the guys are saying, right? Wes, Sam, Tom, I'm in line with, right? Tribalism is detrimental to anybody's work. But at the same time, you know what? Let me rewind. I want to see people succeed, whether it's in comic books or whatever their lane is that they're trying to get to. I want to see you win. I do. I'm psyched, right? I feed off of that energy. But at the same time, I'm not going to drag you across the finish line, right? I can't. I've got my own stuff I got to handle, and there's people out there who are definitely of that ilk, right? But then there's the groups of people that are out there, tying up their boots, putting their money where their mouth is, and creating stuff. And if somebody's like, hey, how do you do X, Y, and Z? I've got no problem sharing that information, right? I'm not going to hold that back from anybody. Like Tom said, and what you do in Calderon, yeah, I got the thing on and what Sam does, I got the thing on Fridays, right? I invite people on. They're welcome. Doors never close to anybody. If they want to come through, shoot the shit, talk about their stuff, right? Talk process. Vent their frustrations on where they're at in their current state of work. So do I care in that regard? Yeah. But I don't care about those that want me to do the work for them. Does that make sense? I mean, You know, it's that what's that adage? You can bring the horse to water, you can't make him drink, right? I ain't gonna fucking serve you the goddamn water every time you get to the goddamn water at all. You know, I showed you how to get there. Whatever. I understand I'm abrasive, but that's all right. That's who I am. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place right now with that one. Yeah. I wanted to
started getting very internal, Jay. Very.
I wanted to come
I'm
at it with
sorry about myself.
You know, but it's like, yeah. I don't know. Once Sam mentioned the tribalism, I was like, yeah, that's out there.
Tribalism is real, though. That's in every. That's not just comics. That's humanity. Is
100%.
Tribalism? You know, so you can't really. There's really no. That's what I was saying on my part. I was like, you can't really fight against that. You can try and scratch and claw and get into whatever sort of bubble you want to try and get into, but it's going to be difficult just because of the way humanity works.
Right.
You know, and so oftentimes it's better for you to just create your own side of the road, build on that. And if someone on the other side of the road wants to come see you, then you can kind of meet in the middle and start to, you know,
that's right.
build the bridge, you know? So, but you know, there's so many people, it's even just in like, hey, I'm making a comic. How do I get a publisher? Like, yo, that's 1998. Get a publisher, man. Like we're not in that world anymore.
Right.
You do this yourself first, then you can take steps to get into other markets and so on and so on. But you don't just have an idea and go to a publisher. That doesn't work anymore. So like you were saying, it's the horse and the drinking and the finding it and whatever. But yeah.
I get it.
Cool. For myself, I'm of two minds, right? There are days that I love the community and I want to help everyone. And there are days I'm just like, just stop. All of you just stop. Just be done. Please just go away. I don't want to read any of your work. I'm done with you guys. And yeah, that's how I feel. You know, but like I said, I do this show. I do this show every week. Or almost every week. You know, we skip a couple of days a year. But I mean, in total, though, I do care because it's kind of like Jay said. I want to see everyone succeed, and I do think there is room for success. And I mean, you know, look, some people are going to be more successful than others, but I think the most positive thing I think I can imbue or espouse is to say that, you know, find your success in the work, right? Do your best work, and that's where you find your success, right? Because if you just rely on financial goals, you're gonna have a hard time. You may have a hard time. Some guys just come out the gate, bam, they're raising $30,000-$40,000, right? And there's gonna be some of us who are never gonna see those heights, right? So you just have to produce the best work you can produce and just go that route. You know, and look, you know, I say this, I can put my book next to anybody's book and be proud of my book.
Yep.
You know, that's what I can say. And I don't give a shit who it is. You know, start naming them. I don't care. You know, I can put my book next to theirs. I can say at minimum, I'm giving you a good book, period. Right. And I think that's the thing that we need to strive for, you know, so that's the part where I really care is I want everyone to succeed on that level. I want everyone to be satisfied with their work. Financially, listen, I mean, if it can happen, God bless. I mean, I want it to happen for everybody, but you know, it's tough. It's a really, really rough game. So, you know. So.
Well, anybody that makes comics knows how much work is involved.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, if I'm seeing somebody else making comics, I'm like, bro, I've been there. I know what you're going through. What do you need that I can offer? Whether it's resources or advice or just a positive word, because you know most of us are stuck in our hole doing the work, so getting those positive affirmations don't always come. So it's even just like, man, that's really cool, that's a great looking cover or page, or oh man, I like that idea on your story. That alone can fuel the fire. I mean, even at conventions, meeting people and then coming up and talking to me like, man, I bought your book last show and it was so much fun. And it's just like, oh, thanks, man. That means the world to me. I so much appreciate that. It's like, where's the next one? It's like, it's coming. It's not here yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll still never forgive you, Wes, for Space Vegas. I'm so upset. So upset that you got there first.
Uh-oh.
But there you go.
Sorry.
There you go.
All right. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, not sorry.
Wes, I don't know what you did. I don't know what he's talking about. But you know what? Good on you. Keep doing it.
He's talking about my other creator-owned series, Savage Sasquatch. It's about Bigfoot space.
Oh, okay.
So the last,
I don't know about this.
yeah, last issues 5 and 6, the culmination of the first volume. He's on Space Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Nice. All right, cool. All right, Jay, you're up.
All right. Well, following the theme of tonight's question, and with some of the stuff that Wes brought up a moment ago, for those of us that are seasoned and been around the block a few times, if you have one of these newbies coming at you, feeding you the lines of bullshit, do you stick out the olive branch, a helping hand? Do you call them out on their bullshit? Or do you just walk away and let them be? Let them sell.
What's an example of a line of bullshit?
Just I've got an in to diamond. Just throw it out there because we know it's not there. Okay, you know, it's a line of bullshit. You know what a line of bullshit is. It could be any form, right? Oh, I'm moving 20,000 units. Whatever the fucking case is, right? If you see them coming out, do you offer them a helping hand? Be like, maybe you shouldn't go in that direction. Do you call them out on their bullshit? Like, come on, man, stop fucking with me. Or do you just keep it moving?
Fair enough. Wes, you're up.
Honestly, it depends on the day and my mood.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Because there's days where like, all right, let's climb this tree. Let's see what you got. You know, and I'll let them feed. And like, okay, that's cool. Like, good luck. And so be it. You know, like I've had a past experience that sounded a little too good to be true, but it looked like they had the ducks in a row. It's like, bro, like on paper, this looks great, and it just became the single most unprofessional experience ever. It's like, all right, you know, my bad. I wasn't really out anything, but I was at the same time because I kind of got myself excited and pumped up for it. You know, there's other days where I'm not in the mood, and it's just like, yeah, we'll talk later, and I'll just never talk to them again. And then there's other days, it's like, well, it's like, do you have a specific question? Do you want to know something that I can help, or what are you trying to get from me, or what do you want? And if they ask, I'll answer, and I'd be happy to. But sometimes it's just, well, I know this and that. It's like, oh, that's awesome. I don't know him, or I met him, or her, or whatever. It's like, that's great, man. That's awesome. Next time I see him or talk to him, I'll mention you to him. Say hi. You know, but it just depends on the day, just kind of how I'm feeling, if I want to be particularly chatty or not. You know, because I spend all my day with my little kids, you know, my 18-month-old son. So a lot of my day is just spent with somebody screaming at me and calling me mama instead of dad. So it's like, hey, it's human interaction. Let's talk. And it's not somebody who's just yelling at me. Yes, please. Thank you. Other days, I've had it up here. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair. Sam, what are your thoughts?
It happens all the time. I stay away from it. So we've been doing this a long time, and everyone's going to be the next big publisher. Everyone has this next big venture, and I let somebody else go first, right? I was like, you know what? Good luck with you, but you know what? I'm going to sit this one out. I may miss that train to prosperity, but I'm willing to take that risk because I've seen so many have come with grandiose aspirations, and they just don't have the mechanics or the foundation to actually achieve it. And they've had that most of the time I've seen it where they didn't do their homework, or, you know, there's so many steps missed along the way. And so I'd rather let somebody else be the first, and I'm never the first or second. I'd rather wait to see it perfected before I decide whether or not I'm going to go in and go that route. You know, and look, no fault to anybody else. Everybody wants to be successful. I just think you have to be a student first, and you have to do your homework, and you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. And most of the time I've seen, and it's unfortunate, and we've seen it over and over and over again. And there's body bags everywhere with everybody who had these dreams. They're going to be the next best thing, and they're trying to build, bring everybody with them. And it's just crashed and burned and crashed and burned. And so I usually just sit it out. I bow out gracefully and say thank you, but no thank you. And I just keep it moving. That's it.
All right, cool. I don't think it's right you calling out distillery like that, but
okay. Stop starting anything.
Woo, fire shots, kid.
That's just one. There's like a half dozen others.
I know. They're the most recent. Yeah. I get it. Are they fully shut down?
Who knows? I mean, they'll probably pop up at some point.
Okay. No, because remember, bad idea. Shut down to become a cupcake thing, and then pop back up doing comic books.
You can make more money in cupcakes than you can in comics.
I think so. Yeah. That was part of their marketing.
See, there's your next marketing is you sell a cupcake, but the wrapper has a comic book on it. So you got to eat the cupcake and you save the wrapper, and it's got story panels on it.
Not a bad fucking idea, kid.
This is what I do. This is what I do.
It's not a bad idea.
Sam, this is the next big thing. Follow me, Sam. Follow me.
Come with me if you want to live.
All right, Gavin, you're up. What are your thoughts? You're muted.
Well, so I guess I don't know if I feel super qualified to answer this question. This is our first book, and I've been thinking of the line of bullshit that I would feed you guys. We're going to be the next big thing. But no. I'm really just, I'm excited. This is our first full finished project that we've completed, and I'm here to just, a question like this, I'm here to sponge and make sure that I don't misstep any of you on the con floor and stay in good
Don't
graces.
worry, we'll trip you if you need to be tripped. It's fine.
Yeah, please do.
We'll happily take care of you.
Yeah, but no, the answers are great. I'll if I think of something, I'll add it. But
right, cool.
Okay, fair enough, man.
Yeah, Tom, what are your thoughts?
Everybody knows me. I don't take bullshit, and I'll put it right back in your face if I think that you need it. But that's sort of the thing for me. Is same with Wes. It's sort of like it's what day is it? What movie did I watch recently? What mood am I in? It will depend on how much you're going to get back, if at all. I might just let you continue to bury yourself, and I don't care. But where it really bothers me is if somebody is not just simply like, it's one thing if you're pitching something to me, like I can fine, whatever, I can yes or no, or I can devil's advocate with you or whatever. But if you are taking that stuff out to the public, and you're actively sort of engaging with folks like Gavin who are like, just starting off, and you're giving information or thought processes or things that I know are not where these guys are supposed to be, that's when I'll speak up for the most part, because I don't want anybody to get tripped, Gavin. I want you to have a nice path ahead of you before you reach the inevitable bumps in the road. But if someone's out there just clearly just giving bogus thought processes and information, that's not going to fly for me, and I'll challenge them on that. And then if they have answers, that's great. Now we have a different level. Okay, now I see you're on a different level with what you're talking about. You just have a poor presentation. But most of the time, the guys that are coming out with this stuff, it's just all like this, and they're just spouting whatever they need to spout to get sort of the immediate clout of who they are for whatever reason. And that's what bugs me. And that's when I'll generally kind of call people out.
All right, cool.
Well, one thing about comics, everybody's got their own path. Like there's no one way to do anything. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because everybody you'll talk to, they have a story that is similar, but also totally different than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And so you can give advice, but you could be right next to somebody who did the exact opposite and found as much, if not more, success. And it's
Yeah, I would. That's a great point, and this is sort of the other side of the discussion, right? Is if you hear somebody talking about whatever, about how to do something, the first thing you should do is go and figure out who that person is. Do they work for a company? How long have they been doing something? Some guy might be telling you, here's the answers to everything in the comic book world, and they've been doing comics for a year and a half, right? That's sketchy at best, unless you've gone and searched and you've seen that they're one of those lightning in a bottle guys, and they've done something that you can follow and go, oh, well, he kind of did this. Let me kind of take that. But, or the other side is, oh, this guy's been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. He clearly has had some experience in blah, 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 whatever. So it's always sort of on whoever's listening to kind of figure out, like, do I need to listen to this guy? Or is he just spewing to spew? Is he literally telling me something for real? Or is it just to build his clout in as fast as he possibly can?
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. For myself, yeah, I mean, it depends on the day, but I'll be honest with you. Typically, I just walk away because I don't have time to deal with bullshit. I don't have time for those types of people. I just, go tell it walking, right? The one time that I did stop and I did listen to one of these people, it wasn't good. So, so I'll just pass on that. So yeah, but typically with a lot of those people, I just honestly just don't have time, to deal with those types of individuals, even if it's just like an online debate, right? It's very rare that you'll even see me respond to somebody's post. You know what I mean? I'll see a post, I might give it a thumbs up or whatever, smiley face, a laugh or whatever, but it's rare you're going to see me type. If that's happening, I'm usually at work and I'm bored. Like I'm sitting there and like I finished a review or a spreadsheet or some dumb thing, and I'm like, let me spend a few minutes online, and I'll just entertain myself for a few minutes. But that's rare too. So
I don't think I have ever seen you post on anything that is like a debate about anything.
No,
like ever.
Yeah, because that's what this show is for.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He saves it up. He saves it up.
Hey,
I like it.
I'm like, that's what this show is for. I'm like, if you want to discuss it, we just come to the show. You bring on the show, we'll talk about it. Right? It's it's that for me. It's just like I don't need to sit there and be like playing Thumbelina. If I'm gonna write, I'm getting paid for it, so I'm writing scripts. That's what I'm doing. So, but typically, I just just let people be. Like, if they want to talk, whatever they're talking, just let them talk. It's just like it's their breath. Doesn't cost
when
me
it comes
anything.
to a debate online, you're never going to change anybody's through the keyboard. Nobody's opinion's ever going to change. So it's wasted energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like my philosophy: let the work speak for itself. Everything else, whatever. If you want to have a conversation or a debate, come find me. We'll talk in person, because the keyboard and social media, that ain't the place for me to do it. Because other people get involved, and especially in a unique conversation now.
You're not wrong, but that's where a lot of the times where people will kind of post their BS because they don't want it in this sort of a forum, because they know they will get slammed by the people that have been doing this and so on. So they're happy to go into these like art groups and comic groups and whatever, and just start spilling it. And then, like I said, and then all the sort of the newbie guys, like the rest of us are like, whatever, dude. But then all the newbie guys are like, oh, let me get in on this. And then that's where I got to be like, slow down. And I know that I might only save one person out of all of that if I make them stop and think about what they're reading. But if I save one person, then I save one person.
So Tom cares about his fellow Indians.
That's right.
Tom
Bringing it back to the first question.
That's right.
I like that.
Shout out to Rod. What's up, Rod?
There you go. How you doing, Rod? I think Daphne made the point I was trying to get at also. How many people are out there trying to sell you courses on the how to make a comic, and they're just using the money that you're paying for their course to make their own books, because they can't sell one. I've had people come to me trying to sell me the next Netflix of the comic book version of Netflix. I've had people try to set up meetings for me when they know I'm at a con. Are you going to be available during this time to talk about blah 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 blah? And it's just like Wes, you know, am I in on it?
So do you don't respond to the Nigerian princes? Because that's how I do it, Jay. Is I respond to all the Nigerian princes.
Have you ever tried to flip one of the Nigerian princes? Right? Be like, why don't you just come work for me? You can make legitimate money selling my books, and we'll both be fun. Yeah. There you go, K-pop junkie. Blah 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 blah
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So you got Jay? Thought you'd have a little bit more venom.
No. I don't need to be filled with venom all the time. Come on, man.
Well, no, that particular question though is kind of like, you know, projected towards that.
It is. Yeah. I'm not gonna get into it. I can't get into it.
Jay doesn't call out though. Jay doesn't call out.
I don't call people out. People out. It's like I'm one of those start none will be none. And the other thing is, if you do start some, fuck you in your mouth. You know what I mean? It's because like Wes said, when you're online, nobody's opinion is going to be changed, but they don't got the balls to say it to you in your fucking face.
Yeah,
that's another thing, man. Say something to me. Fucking cunts.
The venom, it's coming. It's boiling.
It's bubbling. I don't want to bring it out. We're having a good time. Where it's all right. I don't want to be so abrasive. Okay, that's right. But he's there.
Wow, that guy got to you.
Yeah,
somebody got to you about that abrasive part.
It's you hurt me. I'm gonna show you on the screen where they touch me. Okay. No, it's just, I mean, you don't know what you're doing. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Until you've done these fucking books, until you've put in the time that we've put in, shut the fuck up. I ain't asking you to be a kohai senpai and that type of fucking relationship. You know what I mean? But it's like, shut the fuck up until you know what you're talking about, man.
Was there a more specific point that was given across when you got the abrasive comment? Were they like, oh, you're so abrasive from this thing, or was it just a generalized?
No, that was a generalized thing, but then there was something else. It's like multiple things coming together. It's trying to see. You see, I'm starting to speak fast. I gotta slow the fuck down a little bit.
Woosah.
Yeah. Like, I want to be chill. I want to be fucking chill. I'm not drinking anything. I want to be fucking chill right now.
So Jay, but who told you this though?
Who told me what?
The thing about you being abrasive.
Who hurt you?
Oh, I've been around. Apparently, it's floating. People think it. Some people think it. You know what I mean? But then, it comes back to people who've never done fucking books tearing my shit up, right? And then it comes back to tribalism. You know what I mean? Just because you're sucking EVS dick, just because you're on that side of the fucking table, you think you're untouchable. Make something. Grow your goddamn catalog. Believe in yourself. Because obviously you can't. That's why you're out here reviewing other people's fucking books, because you can't make one yourself. Sorry.
So do you feel better now?
No. No. No.
Now he's mad, dude. We egged him on.
We do this every week.
You can't worry about reviews. You can't, like, ever. I famously do this Western Wizard of Oz, right? And I famously talked about this review that I got once from these three girls who did comic reviews, and it was a good review. Like, overall, they were like, "This is a good review," whatever. But what was funny was towards the end of the review, one of the girls was like, "The only thing I didn't understand is why was this random lion in this book, and I'm like,
Right.
random lion. Do you have no context of what the Wizard of Oz is? Like, so you have to always sort of understand where some of this stuff is coming from. It's coming from an alternate sort of bubble, essentially, like we talked about. It's coming from an alternate bubble of just like, well, I exist in this bubble, but I'm going to go look at what's in someone else's bubble and you know, see what's there. But you know, just don't just don't even worry about the reviews, man.
No,
it just doesn't matter.
I know. It's just, you know, when some dumb motherfucker tells me, excuse me, brings my campaign up on their stream and says, oh, you know, I really need to start doing a review of people's campaigns, and the only place your campaign is getting accepted is Fund My Comic. Shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying, man? Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting messages to calm down. I can calm down. You know what I mean? But the thing is, they won't have the fucking balls to say this to me in fucking person. Say it to me, motherfucker.
You feeling better now? You okay?
No. Yeah, because the only reason I won't backhand somebody in public is I don't want to get kicked out of the convention. I mean, I spent in a fucking investment in these places. They're not cheap. It's like, shut the fuck up, man.
All right. Listen, I'm
sorry.
So Jay, you sure you're okay?
I'm all right. All right. Moving to the next. Tom, say your fucking question.
Whoa. Just chill out, man. Because I mean, you know, you're getting all warlike.
You guys fucked me up.
You're getting all warlike.
You don't think I'm gonna be worried?
Cosmic Wars, bro. This is what we got to worry about right now. Cosmic Wars. Okay. So there you go. Sam, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's whatever.
Wow, just 24 hours. We are right here at this moment. In 24 hours, the campaign ends. But there's so much to accomplish. With your help, we funded in an hour. With your help, we unlocked the first stretch goal. With your help, we unlocked the first backer goal. We've also held multiple raffles, and a lot of you won some amazing swag. But it's not over. We're just 10 backers away from unlocking the next backer goal, and we are $353 away from unlocking the next stretch goal. And that is raffling off issue number 0 from 2003, and all physical backers getting a 5x7 print of Gorf versus Evil. A lot of you have come along the way. I appreciate every one of you, but some of you are still waiting. Can you pledge now? Let's end this campaign on a high. We can do better than 50, but I need you to do so. Click that link, pledge today. I'll see you at the end of the Kickstarter.
We're warriors in a cosmic war.
All right. Sam, what are we looking at? Walk us
We're
through.
looking at the first comic book I ever created. I created the character back in when I was 12 years old. His name was Scrungy at the time, and he was my imaginary friend that I gave form to. And then he evolved into Cosmic Gorf. And so his first debut was in 2003. And then I decided to go back in the archives, redo the entire thing, add new characters, expand the world. And this is the new launch of Cosmic Wars. That's a time lapse drawing that I've done on Clip Studio. Yeah, basically, it's the story of a fallen hero. He was supposed to protect the king in the great battle. He didn't show up on time. The king fell. He blamed himself. He went into exile. And he is also the protector of the Arthurian star. And now without him, he puts everything at risk. And the daughter of the king, Princess Reina, now becomes ruler, and there's never been a female ruler before. So she has resistance from all sides, and Lord Evil is trying to overthrow her. And so she needs to search for Gorf and find him wherever he's hiding in order to get him and convince him to come back. Even though her army believes they don't need Gorf, she believes she does. So this is where the story begins. And it's a 30-page issue. It's issue 0. I'm excited to debut it here. It has some fantastic covers, one by Lou Pons, who did an homage to Frank Frazetta's Conan. It's fantastic. That's a variant cover. And Marco DeFilio, who did indie books like Path of the Pale Rider, he did a fantastic cover as well. That's also available on this campaign. We have blind bags. We have variant covers. We have a lot of great swag and amazing add-ons.
All right, cool.
And we're down to the last 12 minutes.
Oh, damn. So back in now. So this is obviously the first issue. How many more issues do you think in this arc or this story?
This story was written to be 100 plus. So, I'll take it as far as I can while I'm on this planet, but it was written to be an ongoing series.
Okay. But let's say that you probably have a current arc you're working on. Like, how long do you think the arc is going to be?
Every arc is 10 issues.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And there's fantastic characters like Lord Evil and Zarkinar and Commander Rox and Zanzarax and Professor Ramses. Duty, yes. If you've read any of this in my toilet, you've seen some little what do you call them? Elements of Gorf. So there was posters in the bedroom, but at the end of issue 7, there were 3 alternate endings. One of them was with Gorf. If you picked up Duty's Monsters, Gorf is in that book as well. So there's a crossover, but not in this series. They have spin-offs, and I wrote a children's book with Gorf and Duty that I've also produced as well. But they do cross over, but for specific reasons. But they're not in the same universe, but they do meet.
Okay.
All right, cool. Now, what type of age group do you think this would be appropriate for?
10 plus.
10 plus. Okay.
Yeah. Because of the swords and the guns and all that stuff, whatever, the laser blasters, I would say 10 plus.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. So I mean, you said you started developing this when you were 12. What made you think of picking it back up and continuing?
Well, Gorf was always in my heart, but every year for the past 4 years, George kept saying, when are you going to do Gorf? When are you going to do Cosmic Wars? When are you going to do Cosmic Wars again? And then so after Forbidden was released, I realized that, time is not our friend, right? Tomorrow's not promised to anybody, right? So I was like, you know what? There's no better time to introduce it than now, a break before I release issue 8 of There's Nail in My Toilet. So I needed to recharge myself artistically and creatively. And so once I started digging into crates and looking at the old files and stuff, I got excited again. And I was like, all right, you know what? I got to do this. And I just started. It felt like I just reconnected with an old friend.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, so we have George to blame, is what you're saying.
Yeah. But I mean, if you've seen Gorf, I mean, if you pull up the camera, this is what Gorf looked like when his original design. Right here, he looked like a mixer of Alf and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. When I was young.
Okay.
So that was a clay model that I did. So he's been with me. He's been with me forever.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So you got. Let's see. What are we looking at here? Another 10 minutes, everybody. So if you want to jump on, now's the time. Go get it. All right, but you did nice. You did 3 times your goal. So.
Yeah, and every physical backer gets a 4-inch sticker, a Cosmic Guardian Defenders of Freedom sticker, and every backer at $25 and over gets a Cosmic Gorf sketch card. So, and then we've unlocked as well. So,
all right, cool, very nice. Listen, another job well done, sir.
Thank you. Trying to catch up to the big boys.
I am too.
Yeah, we all are. All right, Wes, do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, you can. It's about a minute. Hi, everyone. I'm Wes. I'm so excited to be back for the final issue of Sky Sharks Remastered here on Kickstarter. We successfully launched and delivered the first 2 issues together, and now we're here to finish the mission. In this final chapter, the stakes couldn't be higher. Dr. Castle's doomsday weapon is live, and the world is hanging by a thread. The Sky Sharks will infiltrate the Steel Fortress of War Island for one last game. It all comes down to a final face-off with a former friend. Is it redemption or doom? You'll have to read to find out. This is the definitive version of the story. Like the first 2 issues, this is more than 40 pages of Punk adventures, fully remastered and recolored And because I've done this before, the process is dialed in, the book is nearly complete, and the rewards are set, and I'm ready to get this final issue into your hands. Thank you for supporting this journey from the beginning. Let's finish the series strong, hit that pledge button, and let's get the Sky Sharks in the air one last time. Got to do the movie credit roll, you know?
Yeah.
I will say, making Kickstarter videos is my least favorite part.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. So, all right, so this is a remastered version. How long have you been working on this book?
Oh man, so this was my very first creator-owned series that Fred Perry and I co-created way back almost 20 years ago. Actually, Rod Espinoza there in the audience was around in the same studio in those days. It was originally a 5-issue miniseries that were released monthly and kind of came and went without any kind of fanfare. I mean, at the time, there was nothing like it on shelves. You know, Rocketeer was out of print. You know, there weren't monthly comics. There were no pulp comics. There was nothing like it on shelves. And I was like, man, I want to read something like that. So we made it, and it kind of fizzled out. And we had copies, but over the years, they became unavailable and had been unavailable forever. And for a long time. And since I started doing Savage Sasquatch through Kickstarter and kind of building my own little audience through that, I found all my old files, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to have time between Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Sasquatch. It'd be really cool if I could have something in the meantime. Like, all this work is done, but I am, 15 plus years better. I can go in and pump up the colors. I wanted to re-letter the whole book, but it turns out like about a third of it, the balloons managed to get flattened to the page. So it's like, oh man, it's gonna be too much work to re-letter everything and take those balloons out. So I went in and made adjustments where I could, just to try and make it a little more easily to read, color-coded like radio transmissions between the characters, and fix some spelling mistakes and just odds and ends, some continuity errors that I found that, just with time, it's like, man, I could really make this better. But I didn't want to do the 5 issues all over again. So, and I didn't think it would go straight to a trade. So I'm like, let me repackage it, all 5 issues. I'm going to do it as 3 issues. So every issue is over 40 pages. They're between 41 and like 46 pages each of story. And so it gets the whole series. This is the Kickstarter for the 3rd issue, for the final issue of the story, but all 3 issues are available on the Kickstarter. And essentially, I like to describe, when I'm talking to people at cons, if you're a fan of the TV show Firefly, which had the big announcement today by happenstance, it's like Firefly, but with airplanes instead of spaceships. And it's kind of my love letter to like the Rocketeer and Black Hawk and Crimson Sky and the Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow and all that kind of great stuff that when I did it, there wasn't anything out there like it. And now there's a lot more available in the same vein. So I was like, man, maybe this has a shot again. So here we are, putting it out and having a good time. We got the covers, like Fred's original covers. Fred Perry's the artist and my co-creator, and I learned so much from Fred on this book. Like I cannot say enough good things about Fred and his creativity and his knowledge and his generosity. And so I learned a ton, which parlayed right over into my creating Savage Sasquatch. So I was like, man, if anybody read my Sasquatch series and you like that, I learned most everything you like about Sasquatch on this series. So even though one's in space and one's in airplanes, I think there's a lot of crossover and just in tone. But yeah, it's been a love letter to come back to this series, because I'd kind of kind of put it off, kind of put it out of my mind. Hadn't read it since it came out. So once I started bringing it back, I read it just kind of cringing, like, oh man, how bad is this going to be? And it's like, oh man, I'm having a lot of fun with this. And I instantly saw just minor tweaks. I'm like, man, I can't believe I didn't do this originally. They've got a big flying fortress that in the original release, for whatever reason, I called it the Colossus. And I'm like, dude, they're sky sharks. Why in the world isn't the Megalodon? Like, just like, duh. So just some of the things like that I'm like, yeah, I really want to make these changes and kind of create the definitive edition of this series and bring it back to an audience that didn't see it when it first came out a long time ago, or heck, at this point they may not even been born.
Right.
So
True.
but it's a lot of fun, man. I really do like this, and it's been great going back to it and revisiting the art, and just I've been having a lot of fun. It was going to be, I was hoping to release it all within like a year and a half, the 3 issues, but life kind of stretched that out. We had events happen, and we're having a kid, and like, oh, I got to go work and make sure I got enough money. And so what was going to be an 18-month period became about 3 years. So it was about 1 issue a year on average. So not too bad, but I'm looking forward to finally get it done and in everybody's hands, because I feel like it's been a long time coming for everybody to see this how it should have been seen all those years ago. When you have time to do it as opposed to a monthly deadline, it can really make things look better.
True. So I mean, when you guys were doing it monthly, I mean, were you actually like, did you guys give yourself a grace period? Are you 3 months ahead, or were you guys just banging it month by month?
No, we banged it out. I mean, yes and no, because at the time we were also printing in China. So we had like a window. So we would get done and send it to the Chinese printer, and we wouldn't get it back it'd take about 2 months to get it back. So while we were ahead, we were also behind. And so, I mean, it was just, and while we were doing this, Fred Perry's main series was Gold Digger, that he was doing every single month, writing, drawing, coloring, lettering. So, I mean, he was doing both books concurrently, doing his main title, and then he would come and pencil and ink this book. And he would also do some lettering in it, and then I'd go over it. And we kind of tag teamed it to create what it became. And so, I mean, he did a Herculean task that there's nobody beyond like Jack Kirby that has ever drawn as many comics in a month as Fred. And so, I mean, he was doing great stuff, and it was really cool. And it's like he would give it to me, and I would have about 10 days or less to color it. And like the last issue, when we put out issue 5, it was like a 30-page book, and I had like 5 days to color it. Which the fun part was, that's my favorite issue. I feel like that was the issue that looked the best, because it's kind of, you turn off your brain and don't second guess anything and just do it, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, it's good. So I'm actually revisiting that issue now. I just finished the work earlier this week, and I didn't have to do as much as I did the first remastered books, so that was nice. But yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun, and it makes me want to do more, but at the same time, I don't want to do more without Fred.
Right.
So, because he was everything in this book with me, and it's just like, I don't really want to do it without Fred, but maybe one day it could happen. But I'm not counting on it. But you never know. I'm never going to say never.
Right. Gotcha. I know he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
Is he semi-retired these days, or is he just? Because I know he's still doing a book over at AP. So
yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I know he's still drawing books, but I don't think he's doing monthly titles.
Right.
I think that's the difference. I don't think he's doing the monthly grind, if I understand correctly. We don't chat nearly as much as I would like to, because he's a dude that, again, he knows of the grindstone. So, I mean, he doesn't answer the phone. You're lucky if you get a reply to an email. So it's kind of catch as catch can. Very, very, very seldom I get to talk to him. But I got to see him last year. Anarch Press had a 40th anniversary birthday bash, like one-day con, and brought all these people out, and Fred came out, and it was a lot of fun. So I got to sit with him and show him what I've been doing. He knew what I was doing. He drew an extra cover for the first issue, and
Nice.
and so it was a lot of fun. And he was just like, "Oh man!" I was talking about like the Colossus becoming Megalon. And he's like, "Why didn't we do that?" I was like, "I don't know, because I'm dumb." Just obvious things like that. But he was just like, "Oh man, he got all excited again too." So you never know, man. Maybe one day he'll be like, "Man, I want to draw some more Sky Sharks." Like, let's do it. I ain't gonna say no.
Yeah. All right, cool. So you got another 4 days. Got a little bit of work to put in, but I think you're gonna make it. I don't think you're gonna have an issue there.
I hope so.
You're
I hope
looking
so.
All right, cool. All right, next up. All right, Tales from 22nd Street.
Yeah. So this is our book. We don't have a fun video. I think we both had anxiety about making a video, and we were like, let's see if we can do this without one. So we just took that swing. But yeah, so we've been, for the past 2 years at least, probably more like 3 or 4, during like the post-COVID era, we were playing a lot of video games, and Joe lives in Detroit and I live in Chicago, but we've always been like good friends, and we just started writing a story together, like not even playing video games, just like in a chat. And then I'm the artist, so I was doing all these like sketches and stuff, and we were like, oh, we should have like this, we should build this like world. But I guess I'll like give you some context for like the pitch, right? So it's set in like an alternate 1995 in a city called Deepwater. Hydro theft is at its peak. Street gangs run rampant, and the clock's ticking for this city until their water supply runs dry. And Trail Hicks is he's this squirrel college student who over like every night like is a DIY vigilante crime fighter type who wears like a sweatsuit and has a fanny pack full of mail order gadgets, and he uses those to try and protect his neighbors from lizards that are stealing water, and then uncovering like this bigger conspiracy of what's going on with the city's water. I've been doing the like for fans of type thing so it's kind of like, obviously we owe a lot to like Mirage Studios and like TMNT, but there's also a lot of Kick-Ass or like Spider-Man, like teen superhero tropes, and then there's like a little bit of like a Soylent Green type thing going on with like kind of this dystopian world. So I did all of the art for this book. The colors, my fiance helped us color flat. And then I kind of, did the embellishment that I needed to. Try to keep things relatively flat. Although it's set in the 90s, the book's like art style and like overall tone owns like a ton to 80s comics. I mean, I was like, as a 12-year-old, like I worshipped Batman Year One. I thought it was the coolest book of all time. As did I have an appreciation for like Born Again and like all those Frank Miller books, Sin City, obviously. So yeah, this is our first campaign and it's gone really well. I don't know if we were entirely prepared for like, we thought like we would hit our goal like right at the end and it would be good, but we've really funded the heck out of this thing. Good. And we got to cave out some time to meet up and sign copies and bag and ship stuff, and yeah, it's exciting.
All right, cool. Now this is an issue 1. Is it a one shot? Is it a limited series?
Yeah, so it is. We definitely are doing 5 or 6 issues. I think like we've constructed a world that there's so much to play with, and like just like kind of setting everything up was really difficult, but once you kind of lay the rules, we've been able to like issue 2 and issue 3 are like written and I've already started laying them out. Like we're going, like things move a lot quicker. But this first issue is also like double size because there's a lot of ground to cover, a lot of catching up to do. And Yeah, it's I think ideally like it's one of those things where we would like to just kind of do an issue a quarter. It keeps, I don't know. I really love drawing this book. It's a lot of fun.
All right, cool. So 5 or 6 issues.
At least.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And that would be the arc.
Yeah. We definitely have a 6-issue arc. It could end up being 5, but I think it's gonna be 6.
All right. You
and-
are the artist. You'll make that decision.
Yeah, yes. And it's also like it's definitely, friendly to, I would say, like 12 and up. We had to use a lot of Grolics. We had to swap out some of the swears for but I think it adds some personality, especially with him being like in college, and we're doing it at a smaller trim size. So I'm a big fan of like the new like compact comics and like the Marvel Premiere Collection.
Yeah.
Just because of I ride the train every day. I like to like take a book on the train, and it's way more difficult to read like, the 6.875. I forget the exact dimensions, but a floppy like on the train. I was like, it'd be nice to have something that kind of like is commuter friendly. But then I realized that's like the young adult size. So we were like, oh, we gotta take the swears out. We gotta make this because we don't want any kid to go pick it up and
They'll be like, "Mommy, what does fuck mean?"
yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys to.
I know. I mean, listen, looks awesome, man. I like it. Looks
Thank you.
Really, really cool. All right, so you got another 61 hours. You got 114 backers. You did well past your goal, so you guys are really good. Good.
Yeah.
So again, everybody, pick up another book. Awesome. Very nice. All right, real quick, I'll throw up my campaign. I think another 3 days on this thing. This is a trade paperback for If I Was a Few Inches Taller. It's a story where Oswald, my character, he's a magical mouse. He's but this is stories focused around his neighbor Ordith, who's a troll, who's in a war with an ogre, and they've been in this blood feud for several years, and it's finally coming to a culmination. And Oswald is at the center of the resolution of that. So that's what this story is about. Along with this, I am also putting in a couple of pro stories that that also coincide with this, and they're in this portion of his life, because I go through Oswald's entire life cycle, and this is the very beginning. So, so that's what's going on. I think I got another 3 days. Yep, got another 3 days. So there you go. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. And Tom, you're up.
Okay, so unusually, I have an easy, fun question for you, as opposed to the deep.
How is that even possible?
I know, right? Well, it came about because of Robert Kirkman. Something he's been doing in his stories for a while, in Invincible particularly, where he would have Invincible sort of going through different universes and worlds and stuff, and a couple of times he ended up in the DC universe unofficially, in the Marvel universe officially, and in both cases he had Invincible sort of ragging on the characters about their names. Like he was like, yeah, I get it, but like, isn't that a little on the nose? Like for Batman, he's just like a bat and you called Batman. You're just like a spider and you're called Spider-Man. Like, he was just playing that little weird metal game, and he's been doing that for a while. And they just re-released the Invincible Spider-Man crossover that they did many, many, many years ago, that I had never read. And so I grabbed a copy of it and I read it. And basically the entire issue is basically like, okay, so let me guess. He's looking at the Avengers, like you're Shield Man and you're Metal Man and you're, whatever, just teasing with the idea of we just take a thing and put man or woman or whatever at the end of it, and we get a name. And then, so it made me think about it. I was like, well, how doesn't he do that in his books? And the reality is no. He only has, obviously, Omni-Man. Like, that's the one, right? Omni-Man is depth. So there is that one. He did have Martian Man and Warrior Woman, who he both killed off very, very quickly. Spoiler alert. So those aren't existing anymore. And basically, there is no other, like, Dirt Man. Even the elephant isn't Elephant Man. He's just the elephant. So
Monster Girl.
Monster Girl. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's a couple, but it's not as if we go back further in comics, we get more Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. We get more of it.
Yeah.
And so there's less of it today, but it's still there. I myself had to go and think about what I had done in that regard today. And I've only got a few. One of them was done on purpose for the trope, but I didn't want to call. So her name is Lasso Lass. I didn't want to go Lasso Girl because that just seemed weird. But I know, like in the Legion of Superheroes, they have lasses in there instead of calling everybody something girl or whatever. So, but I've only got like 3 in my entirety of all the books that I do, particularly in the superhero worlds. So the question is basically just like, does barring the ones that we're all just in on, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, we get it. When you read like a new superhero book, if someone's just like Window Man or Car Man or Tree Man or something, like, does that throw you off? Like, is it weird? Do you register it the way that Kirkman seems to register those things? And does it bother you? Yes or no? And then the flip side is, if you have done a superhero book of your own, how many Tree Mans and Tree Girls do you have in your series?
All right, Sam, you're up.
All right, give me the first question. Part
So
one of the question.
Yeah, the first part of the question is basically like, if you read a new book, not if you're reading Batman or Superman, those are in.
Right.
If you go into somebody's new superhero book and everybody's like, I'm Tree Man and I'm Car Man and I'm Concrete Man, is that weird? Does it throw you off? Like, would you prefer that Concrete Man was just called Asphalt, to make it a little more, you know what I mean? Like, do the names like that throw you off at all? Or are you just like, well, this is just what the guy wanted to do, and I accept what it is?
It all depends. Like, when you have JD Calderon and JD Rosario, right? It's like, it all depends. Like, which one is it, right? JD, they spelled differently. But no, I think it all depends on what the character looks like and the backstory of the character. Because sometimes, as a reader, we imagine it one way, and then what you're seeing is another. So I think it all depends on the look and if it makes sense to the story. If it doesn't make sense and it feels like you just throw it in, then you're like, ugh, then it becomes corny.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it all depends on the actual character and how it fits in that universe. That's my best answer. JD Rosario, stop acting up.
No, wait. I'm with you, kid. I'm with you on that one.
All right, cool. Gavin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think it depends on, or like, I guess I want to clarify. Is it like, are we talking about like a super serious comic? Because
it can be however you want to interpret it, right? And I think that's kind of where Sam's coming from. Like, if it's a super serious comic and dude's named Tree Man, it's probably not going to play. But if you understand that the comic is a goofy thing, it might work better. But however you want to interpret it.
Yeah, I think if it's like something that's presenting as very serious and it's like a fresh new thing, and it kind of comes off goofy to me, it takes me out of it. I would say I would almost just rather not know the name, and there's some contexts where it works, like a series that didn't feel off guard, like in that regard. It was have you guys ever read Mudman by Paul Grist? It was like a very, very short, like 4-issue series, like in like 2004 or something. But that Mudman, I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I don't know. It was sold to me. I couldn't tell you how, couldn't tell you why. But I think it had like maybe a little bit of that homage to that Silver Age kind of feel. And so it felt appropriate. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm not a fan of naming your character something -man or woman or girl. Now I will say we named our character Shade Tail in an anthropomorphic universe, so I guess maybe I'm not not beating the descriptor noun type thing going on. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
All right, cool. Wes, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, you're not going to beat Tether Tyrant. I mean,
I know, right? That's not even, he should have been Tether Tyrant Man.
I mean, that was fantastic when Kirkman did Tether Tyrant. I was like, that's amazing. I love that.
He has a
No,
lot of
it-
great names, and that's why it kind of got
Yeah.
into my head. Like, does he have X-Man, X-Woman? And he really
Not
doesn't.
many. It's. I would say it'd probably take me out at this point. Kind of once Invincible ended, it kind of just put the kibosh on superheroes for me because I'd already kind of transitioned away from Marvel and DC because they were just going. It's like I've got what I love from that, and I love that, and I'm good with not knowing the new stuff. And then Invincible ended, and it's like that's kind of the capstone for me for superheroes. So if anybody's doing a new superhero, I'm probably not going to look at it. That's just me, and that's okay. So if I was going to read a superhero comic and I saw, Carpet Man or whatever, yeah, I'd be like, cool, it's another one. The only caveat, and I think that goes along with what Gavin was saying, is how tongue in cheek is it? Because that could go a long way. My a buddy of mine, Brian, he kept talking about a book he never did, which is like, all right, that's a book I would buy because it's so ludicrously stupid. It's awesome. Or he wanted to do the comic about Man, the man bit by the radioactive man, and his sidekick Boy Girl, that was the girl bitten by a radioactive boy. And so they have the powers of a man and the power of a boy. It's just like, this is the stupidest thing ever. I love it. Never happened, and it probably wouldn't in this day and age, but I just thought at that time it was just from a very play on this whole idea of something man, something boy, something girl, and just like, what if it's just a guy? It's just, that tickles my funny bones in lots of places, but that's, yeah, as far as like a regular comic, if it's, shelf dude, pocket guy, like I don't care.
So before the other guys answer, Wes, you talking about liking Tether Tyrant. I have something you're gonna like coming up in Critter. If you like Tether Tyrant, I got something for you. I'll let you know when it's ready. I'll give it. I'll see if it passes the Wes Hartman test.
Nice. Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm looking forward to that.
All right, cool. Jay.
Yeah, I want to one up Daphne by saying G.W. Bridge. Okay, G.W. Bridge was the guy from S.H.I.E.L.D., shittier than Cable because he was named after the George Washington Bridge. Just saying. But I am a mark for names like that. And it wasn't just, the Tether Tyrant. There was also the Lizard League that he had in there. There was Biplane, which was an anagram, an allegory for the Vulture, right? Because he was an old guy with the wings. I'm a sucker for that kind of shit. I really am. I love punny names, even like the He-Man stuff, right? Trapjaw or Man-E faces. I think it's funny. It also sets the tone for what kind of story is going to be coming out of this, right? It's PG-13, right? I got villains named Eyebrawl, which is a big fucking eyeball who's a big monster fighter. I got heroes named Mr. and Mrs. and then Ms. Freedom, which is a playoff of Mr. Fantastic and that. I got somebody Comrade Commando, which
I think though that there's a difference between the pun name and the concrete man,
lay it out,
concrete girl,
But they both
like, I think Kirkman's point is that, like, if you're just saying like concrete man, you're at the lowest possible, sort of understanding of the character, maybe something like that. Yeah.
I'm going to say yes to Daphne. There was a character in G.I. Joe named Snow Job.
Correct.
Very early on. Yes, it plays. And they did play him as a con man.
Puns are great though, man. You can't go wrong with a pun.
You can't go wrong with
my comic is Sasquanaut.
Yeah,
it's Sasquatch astronaut. I mean,
I love that, dude. You sold me on that. But I don't know. Is it shitty? Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying it's shitty. Like, he clearly just looks at it as it's a little corny. It's a little. Let's take another step up.
Let's try harder.
Let's try just one step harder. And I think all of it is tongue in cheek too. Like, I don't think he's tearing anybody down for it, but it was just something that he and his in his writing world noticed when he
Mhm.
was doing stuff, and he was like,
I get it. But I get to try harder. But then, elephant. Come on, spice it up.
yeah, but the elephant is just the rhino, just like you
I
just
know,
said. Right?
I know.
Biplane is the vulture. Like,
But
it's-
even the wrestler, put the Y in rhino. Have fun with elephant, font. Fent. He did too much fentanyl and he survived and he became an elephant. Just fucking play with it, bro. Play with it. We're fucking writers. This is silly. We make fucking comic books. Let's have fun with this shit, bro. Come on. Wes said earlier, he's gonna put the Megalodon in Sky Sharks. Fuck yeah, bro. Fucking go for that shit, right? Go for it. Sometimes we can't. You know what? Hold on. Let me bring this to Sam, my man. Bro, Duty from Uranus. Fucking leave
That was a drive-by. I was just walking down the block, minding my own business.
No, but I
Yes, I
went
know.
with it. It worked.
Yes.
It worked, bro. I like the kitschy names. I like the punny names.
So Jay, I got a question for you. In G.I. Joe, do they have an explosives expert named Blowjob?
No.
But Rosario's about to make that.
Yeah. But
That's going to be the
break it
next first appearance in the
We're gonna
Shield of the
we're gonna break
Interceptor.
it up.
Yeah.
BLOJ middle name, and then OB is the shit. I got a fucking character named OB Jin. OB Jin. There's no ladies here, but I got it because I was waiting with my wife at the doctor's and I saw the sign. It said OB gynecologist, OB Jin. Come in, fucking, it worked, bro. Elephancer. Oh, that's nice. That's nice, Dan. I like that. An elephant with the sword. Dan, I'm stealing it. I'm fucking stealing it. Yeah, okay. Sometimes they're flat. Sometimes they're flat, but sometimes they work. Instead of the last, right? The Rocketeer. Tier. Right? A Mouseketeer. I'm with shit like that. I am. I know. I'm a sucker. I'm sorry. I'm a mock.
You really are, Mark. All right, cool. Wow. Anyway, back in the day when I was in my teens, we played a lot of role-playing games, right? And it's the one up into my early 20s. And at the time I was creating names, but I was also I was at just the beginning of making the comics, right? So I had some weird names. Like I had a group, and it was always a thing about the leader and then the group. And it was like Consort and his consortium. And it was just like, what in the name of fuck was I thinking? But I was 16, so I give myself a pass a little bit. But yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we don't see a lot of man or woman type of names anymore because all the good ones are taken, right? And all the ones that come afterwards that we see now, right? Well, like, what's the most successful one that we've seen recently, right? In the last few years is Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the most successful we've seen in the last 10 years. And it's a kids comic, it's a lot of fun. And I think that's what it is. A lot of people perceive it as being juvenile at that point. So I think that's why a lot of creators are just try to steer away from the man, woman type of names. But I think it has something to do with the fact all the really good ones are already taken, So
I think we just need to get the dictionary out and just start adding man to every word until we find the next good one,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think JD made a good point about it being the perception of being juvenile, because that's golden age, silver age, all the comics were juvenile. The people making them hated them.
Yeah. Well, see, and Daphne's point, like Superman was you're going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
So back in the day, being told Batman, Superman, these were new words to us.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's why I was kind of just leave those guys out.
Yeah.
And what are we looking at nowadays as far as Concrete Man, and so on.
But to Daphne's point, I mean, that's actually something that grinds me in the superhero movies. It's like, bro, Superman's on screen, call him Superman. Don't call him Clark.
Right.
Like, and it's like, oh, Clark. You got a secret identity, dude. Call him Superman.
Yeah, at least call him Kal-El, if nothing else.
Right.
Right.
You know, and it's like
Kal-El, stop.
Tony. I don't care if he's out. He's Iron Man right now.
Yeah.
Quit taking your helmet off and be Iron Man.
Right.
Mhm.
While we're talking about this, I'm developing a group of not villains, but the Carpeters, right? And they're the carpentry workers that build the secret villains' lairs.
Nailman and Woodman and Joist Man.
Mhm.
Right? They're the carpenters who blew up on the Death Star, right? And they're just average Joes. They're not good, they're not bad. They're just taking a job, right? But the Carpeters, they keep their mouths shut.
Mm.
That's awesome. That is such a good idea. I'll buy that.
There you go. Didn't Marvel have something? What was the cleanup crew they had?
Damage control.
Damage control. There you go.
Damage control, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I guess they would need the reverse, right? They would need, their
Carpeters, right?
the Carpeters.
Because how many times has both Marvel and DC laid into the the tailors? Oh, they do suits for both heroes and villains,
Yeah.
right? They don't care. They keep their mouth shut. There's shit. Fucking Invincible did it, right? The tailor that slept with his mom.
Yeah.
We have a thing in the Critter book called Super Pawn, which is a pawn shop for heroes and villains and their gear and stuff like that. So,
Nice.
I was at like a bookstore in Philly, and just like somewhere on the shelf was this indie comic from like the 90s, and I was like, this looks cool, and I opened it, and it's the whole premise is this guy is a supervillain's henchman, and it's like his whole story of like why he's his henchman. I don't know, it was just an interesting like kind of meta take, but it's called Hench. I'm sure you can find it somewhere.
yeah, I know what you're
But
talking about.
I love those stories. They're very cool.
Thank God he went that direction. I thought he was going to go the other way and say 90s was so far ago. You know what I mean? They say ancient. I was going to be hurt there, Gavin. But thank God you went the other way, bud. I appreciate it. I mean, when were you born? 2001? 2000?
99. Last year of the 90s.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm allowed to set the book in 95,
You made it in 99. You qualify as a real human being. Anybody after that,
Yeah.
I don't believe anything that they have to say.
There was like 2 years where I didn't have access to a computer. We didn't have a computer at home. So
Oh, simmer down. Simmer down. Okay. Okay. We played football on calculators. All right. So let's simmer down. Right? Oh my God. What was it fucking called again? What was that calculators football game called?
Oh, I don't even remember, but I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, but they didn't just have football. They had baseball. They had basketball.
They did have that. Yeah.
Was it Coleco? Was that the company that made them?
I don't know if it was Coleco.
They were at least one of the companies making it.
Right.
Yeah. But the baseball one was a lot easier because the framework was there with the bases, right? With football, you'd have the red dot go.
Yeah.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Yeah.
I think I had a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh.
All right, Tom, answer your own question.
I don't think I was ever really aware of it until Kirkman pointed it out. I literally think Kirkman's put it in my brain that like this is weird. Although again, like for me, when I named Lasso Last, I did that on purpose for the old school trope. But when I did that, I think in my brain it was like this just makes sense. It's the old iteration thing, like Clark Kent and all that kind of stuff. Lois Lane, everybody's got the same letters for the first and last, so it's Lasso Last instead of Lasso Girl. It just made sense to me, so I did it. So I don't think it really bugs me if I see it. But he now has made it so that I'm almost looking for it. Like I want to see if I read a superhero book now, I'm like, all right, what do you got? What do you got? What's this guy's name? If this is Plant Man, I'm going to be upset, that kind of thing. So
They had a Plant Man, and then
Oh,
they
I'm sure
changed-
there's a Plant Man. Yeah,
no.
there's
Marvel,
no doubt.
Marvel changed the Plant Man to the Floronic Man because the
DC.
Plant Man was too simple. Remember?
That was Woodrew. Floronic Man was Woodrew and Swamp Thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Look at that. Ugh.
All right. All right. All right. So, all right, I got more of a business oriented question. All right. We're going that direction. When was the last time you spoke to your LCS owner, and what information did you get from him? Right? Like when you if you ever talk to your LCS owner, what is you're talking about? Like, what's the temperature, in his store? Like, what type of things are you discussing with them? Right? Like, how are you, like, what type of information you're looking for from them? You know what I mean? So, Gavin, you're back up.
Heard. Yeah, so I speak to my LCS owner often, not always about business, but last time it was about business was we were talking about, so we both are like in like different bands in the city, and so we have that like kind of like connection. And I was asking him like just how like how many people actually are buying the indie, like off the indie shelf. The store I'm thinking of specifically, I will say they have a great selection, but it's also just not very prominent. So you kind of have to find you got to find it in the store, and it's kind of towards the back. But I did find out that there are 3 titles. He didn't tell me which ones, but he did say there are 3 titles that have restocked at least 5 times in the past 3 months. And I was like, that's pretty good in terms of my own personal gauge. I'm just grateful if we sell 1. So like I'm doing very preliminary research as I kind of talk about, stuff like that. I didn't like to talk about a book that wasn't ready or like finished yet. But now that we have like a thing, I'm ready to open those dialogues up a little bit more.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know. That was just promising, because I do feel like you go and sometimes you look at that indie shelf and they've been sitting there for a long time, and you're like, I picked up at least one of these, but I don't know if anybody else is doing that. So I'm trying to think of like how the shelf appeal kind of, who's actually there to do that, and also like what kind of price points work for people in that setting.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Wes, what are your thoughts?
It's been a few weeks since I talked to my local comic shop guy. We don't discuss business quite as often as I used to, since I do more Kickstarter and direct to fans, and then I freelance outside that. So, I mean, they're my friends, so we just kind of chat mostly. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll get some inside business stuff from their perspective, and the last one was real interesting. I don't want to go into it here because I don't want to say like, hey, a negative trend they were noticing. I don't want to say names and dog anybody, but it's like, hey, we noticed this. It's like, really? That's surprising. Okay. But no, I mean, it's always really good to talk and just get some insight, because like they were super supportive of my work, and they actually kept an end cap on their aisles for about 2, maybe 3 years of just my books, which I was like, you supported me just buying the books on Kickstarter. I didn't expect you to actually put them like on the end cap, and they would restock when they sell out. And I was like, wow, dude, that's more than I could ever even ask for. And so then once they moved it off the end cap, and that when I go in, I'll see like, oh, hey, they still got copies. Like, that's not great. It is and it isn't, because you want them to sell it. But I mean, but like Bob, before I did my last series, Sasquatch, I was looking to release it traditional methods through publisher, monthly in stores, and I had read an article like Jim Zub had written about him playing with skull kickers, and he started just changing the name randomly in like issue 23, where like Uncanny Skull Kickers, and then Infinite Skull Kickers, and New Skull Kickers, like just every issue. And when he was in like his mid to late 20s, he started adding the adjective, and the numbers went up.
Oh,
It's just like, okay. and he had it. I think it's still on the website. You can probably go read it. But I was like, okay, I was gonna do Sasquatch, and then I talked to Bob, the manager, and I was like, okay, if you're ordering Sasquatch, because he ordered from Diamond, he was the one handling all that. You order Sasquatch, what'd you order? Sasquatch or Savage Sasquatch? He's like, I'd order more Savage Sasquatch. I was like, why? I just would. Like, okay. That adjective is, I think, kind of hardwired into the comics community, and it may be something worthwhile into doing more of, because especially if you're going into stores, because it seems like stores are doing it, and it's been proven. Like Jim did the math and did the numbers and put it out, put his money where his mouth is, and had his book that was moderately selling go up in numbers just by changing the name. Not even the number, just the name. Right. And then, in my like, hey, if I did this, what would you do? And it's like, no, I'm going to order more of that just because. And it's like, wow, okay. So that's something that's stuck in my head since then. And
everybody add absolute to your comic book title name then.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that. Tom. The next artist would be absolute Sasquatch. There you go.
Well, it could be the absolute.
Why didn't I put that on this campaign? Can I change it now? Tom, that's on the head, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
yeah, I've already put myself there. Like I was gonna, the next time we did a critter, I was gonna put absolutely critter at the top just to be a little off. But
sure. I mean, it's crazy because it's one of those things when it comes to doing. So I love my local comic book shop. I go when I can and spend the time I can there. But it's also a different market when you're selling direct to your customer. I will sell to any and all stores. There's a great store in Tifton, Georgia. Snap! I'm blanking. I am so tired.
We've all been there, bud.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
You should have seen us on Friday.
Yeah. Well, the hour change and kids, and it's just like, dude. I'm going to think of it as soon as it's over. Anyway, forgive me, Kevin Clady and his store, The Zone Collectibles over in Tifton, Georgia. They've been super supportive and have bought numerous issues from me just to keep in their store, and they have their own events and had retailer exclusive covers done for me and several other creators that they're like, hey, we want a cover for our event, and they're huge supporters of indie books, and that's awesome. That's very rare with stores, and anytime that comes up, man, I will do anything and everything I can to bend over backwards to help them. But unfortunately, there's not as much crossover these days as I would like. So it kind of helps keep me in my bubble for better and worse.
All right. Cool. Sam, what are you thinking?
I have a good relationship with a few of the comic shops out here, and then when we just talk about what's changing in the business and what do they focus on with regards to trying to bring in foot traffic. I mean, it's really changed in the LCSs. A lot of it's tabletop gaming, and it's all of that, the Funko Pops and all that stuff. So they a lot of their revenue comes from hosting these events. They've reduced the footprint for shelf space to give more table space to host these events, and they sell a lot of their trading cards and all that stuff there. But they're also very supportive of the local guys. So we just talk about, what do you look for in indies? I tend to do like free comic book days at some of these comic shops, or I do about 3 different signings a year at my local shops. But the trend has changed. You can see it when you're there. I mean, you can see where the visitation is. The most of the crowd is always at the all of the D&D stuff and or the Pokemon stuff. That's where there is, and then you'll randomly see people in the comic aisles. So they don't like to give real estate to unknowns because they want full proof that's going to actually sell and pay the rent. But they're very generous with the local guys. What they do is they'll give me a free table, and I can promote my stuff, and they'll even help me promote it. And then if there's a demand, then they'll put your books on the shelves, and so some of them have carried my books. So it all depends. I mean, I think the biggest thing is build those relationships. You need those shops, and just be consistent. Like someone wanted to carry my stuff. I said, when the series is done, then I'll start releasing it monthly. And then, but I don't want to put anything on your shelves until I have my whole run done, because I don't want anybody waiting longer than a month for something. So once it's done, then I'll do it. Like, this is a year where I'm actually going to start putting out all of my trades and my floppies. But I think, most of the time we're just shooting the breeze about the business and what's keeping them afloat and what are they worried about and those kind of things. And I usually just meet them at the cons. I usually approach a lot of the LCSs at the cons. And that's how I connect with them.
All right, cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
I see my comic guy once or twice a month at the most, but every time we're in there, we talk. Whether it's regarding my stuff or whether it's just general, I'll ask him like, okay, this Absolute Batman is selling everywhere. Is it selling for you too? And he'll be like, well, yeah, this and this and this. And he'll kind of take me through his process of everything. Last time I was in there last week, there was a book on his shelf that was 100% AI, like top to bottom. And I went and told him, I was like, so listen, I'm not attacking you or anything, but I think you need to be aware that this is completely AI. And if any of your customers are talking about it or whatever, like you need to have the awareness to say like, yes, this is an AI book. And he was like, yeah, we already know. We got that figured out. And some other people told me, and I wasn't really sure. So he was like, thank you for sort of giving me that real honest clarification. I was like, yeah, that's fine. And so he was like, yeah, we have our orders in for number 2, but we've dropped it. Now that we know it's AI, we're not carrying it anymore. So, it's just always interesting to hear sort of what they're willing to do. He's always been willing to carry our books. The day that I came into his shop with my books for the first time, because I needed to get bags and boards for our hardcovers. And I was like, I don't know what size I need, so let me try some stuff out. He was like, what is that book? And it was Penny for Your Soul. And I was like, oh, this is a book that I made. We have these for our Kickstarter, and we're I got to send these out. And he was like, oh, you're like a creator? I was like, yeah, we've been doing this for, I don't know, whatever at the time. And he was like, oh, I'd love to see what you do. And so I brought my books in, and he was immediately like, well, how do I get these on my shelf? I was like, okay, this is what we'll do. You tell me what you want, trades, whatever. And then throughout the last couple of years, whenever something new would come in, I'd be like, do you want 5 copies of this? Do you want 5 copies of that? He's like, absolutely, 100%. And basically everything that we've put on the shelf has just sold out. So it's we're not talking about like 50 copies, but like he'll take 10 copies, and in a few weeks they'll all be gone. So I'm like, oh, that's great. So he's real happy about it. It's simple for him. He invites me into their events at least a couple of times a year. He's a guy who's always like, we'd love to have you more, but like I want to rotate as many people as I can, kind of throughout the year, so that it's not just like the same people every time. And I'm like, listen, I have no problem with that. That makes sense to me. You tell me when you want me, and I'll be here. So we talk about that stuff, and sometimes we talk about like comics themselves, like DC and Marvel, and what he sees with all that stuff, like the blind bag thing. He's just like, yeah, nobody cares anymore. This is completely hit a wall, and we barely order any of these things anymore. And but again, that's just his store. That doesn't necessarily translate to the rest of the world, but for his store, it's always interesting to hear what he does, because he's into everything. He is across the board. He does tons of indie stuff. If it doesn't work, he stops, but he's willing to give things a try. In fact, here's an interesting point. They had been carrying Antarctic Press. They stopped right before I came in. And when I came in and I told him like, hey, we're going to have a book or a story in like Exciting Comics 41, he was like, oh, okay, cool. We'll carry that book. And so he carried the book just because I was in it. And then after that, it was still about a year before Critter came out. But after that, I started to see every now and then another Antarctic Press book on the shelf. So like he was clearly sort of like, okay, what are these guys doing now? Where are they? What's happening? And he would occasionally grab something. So my attachment to the company opened his eyes to some of the other books, which I thought was pretty cool on his part. He's by no means carrying the line, but things that caught his eye, he's willing to put on the shelf. So, no, so when you get really good shop owners like that are really kind of able to listen to sort of the larger picture of things, that's exactly what we want. And it's Comic Signal in Grand Rapids. It's one of the best shops I've ever been to in my life. So yeah, great.
Positive word or connection can open all kinds of doors.
Yeah,
I mean, you just never know. So that's part of why you just gotta keep it positive and stay out there, because just saying I like this book or I like this creator can make somebody go, let me check that out.
Mhm.
So
All right, cool. Jay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was at a shop yesterday. I'm not loyal to just one shop. I go around. I check things out. So yeah, big time. So I went to a new shop yesterday for the first time, and I was talking to the dude, and he was like, he's buying collections now because his there's an influx of people, right? There's a new generation coming into the stores, and they're looking for something else. They're looking for the stuff that they didn't get because they didn't know. So they're buying up all his back issues, and he's just looking to refill his back stock because they're moving. And funny thing, he says even like the 90s Kitschy's books, everything that was wrong with the 90s, the overproduced foil covers that just had bad art. He goes, they're buying that too. and he'll pick them up, and he's got three prices. He's got the 2s, the 5s, the 10s, and then after the 10s, things get the random prices. So that's it. We're just talking shop. I don't try to sell my books into stores. I don't do that. I just whatever bullshit.
It's too good for that system. Can't be bothered.
I didn't want to say it, but while I'm reading my Grey Poupon, I don't mess with the common folk.
I will say that I was really shocked. I don't know. Did you guys read the new comics, the magazine that came out like this week? It's I don't know. They had like the sales chart in the back, and like I have so many of those number ones from the 90s, and they're way more. They're worth like at least $10 more than I thought they would be worth. Like at this point. I'm not not trying to sell them or anything. I don't care. I know that they're not. But I'm saying that's like a fascinating trend to see that.
People like those magazines. The Comic the Magazine, the Wizard, the comic scene. That
weird.
That hits a fan base, right?
Yeah.
That stuff religiously.
Yeah. Speaking of being at a comic store, I was at one yesterday myself. I was at Midtown Comics, and what's funny enough, that's what I picked up.
What a shell! Which one did you go to?
The main one, 40th and 6th.
Gotcha.
So how it is in there. They're busy. It's the weekend. So my only question to the guy was, how are these doing? Particularly that magazine, he says it's doing very well, and they had a healthy stack on the shelf, but the way he made it sound like they've already gone through several healthy stacks. So it's Midtown. The place is always crawling with people, and we get all the out of towners, and they all go to Midtown, and then they have tons of regulars too. So. Yeah, then that was basically my one question. I was just curious what the rest of you guys were. You guys had any interactions?
I was listening to a podcast last week.
Mm-hmm.
That said Midtown Comics is usually the gauge for the rest of the industry. If it sells out in Midtown,
Yeah, they said if they sell out, that's how they're figuring they have a hot seller.
Yeah.
If they sell out, because they order more than anybody else. So.
Right.
Yeah, but they're also in a city with a population density that's insane. That sort of should happen.
Yeah.
It should, but then they can order a lot more books too. Excuse me, they keep a lot more books on the shelves than other shops can.
Yeah.
So it feeds into itself as well.
Because they'll keep stuff on the shelf for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So they'll keep it over there for a long time. Jay, you're up.
Yeah. All right. So when you guys buy books, do you buy it because you want to be entertained and read? Do you buy it to see what new techniques are being used? Do you use it as a research tool for how to tell story? What do you do when you're buying comic books? What is your main reason for buying the books at this point, now that you are a creator?
All right. Wes, you're up.
Mostly to be entertained, because I've cut back my comic book consumption. Just my kids like to not let me read. They see me read and they decide to ruin it. so I do mostly just get what I want to read. There's a couple of times I'll like, oh man, I want to see what this creator's doing, because they always do something new and hot, when it comes to like coloring techniques or something. I like to dabble. I do most of my dabbling with like Humble Bundle, because they do some pretty killer deals on humblebundle.com. So I can look into a lot of comics that I can't usually buy.
That's all digital though, right? That stuff?
Yeah, that's all digital. But like there's stuff like, it's like, I'd check that out, but I'd probably never buy it. And so I can just go in like, oh man, I really like this. And then I'll read it or just flip through. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I can see a lot when it comes to researching techniques. Is like, oh, how does somebody play out this kind of story or pacing of a scene? Is mainly when I just kind of grab a whole bunch of shotgun blast of comics digitally just to see what's out there. But no, when I buy, I'm mostly just trying to get something I want. Enjoy that downtime when I have it. But if I try to pull any knowledge I can when I can. I don't claim to know everything, so I mean whatever I can learn, especially now getting back into lettering, I try to look at that a lot more just to try to be better at it, because like I've been able to do it, but I want to actively improve it, and I've been trying to draw more and do more inking. So it's just pull what I can from it, but first and foremost, I want to enjoy it, because I've always enjoyed it, and I could very easily not. So I try to just focus on what I want to read. So I've gotten rid of a bunch of books that I used to buy, that I bought just specifically for reference. I'm like, I'm not really looking at this anymore. I'm gonna get rid of it, just to kind of clear space in my head and kind of keep the positivity in my heart for the medium I love. Otherwise, it get too overwhelming.
Okay, all right, cool. Sam, what are your thoughts? You're muted.
I'm a fan first, so I buy what I like. I love looking at new techniques and coloring styles, and I love looking at new up-and-coming artists, and because I'm a student first, so I'm always learning, and so I start off first. It's the visuals, and then the story will keep me coming for that same thing. But most of the time, I'm buying because it just intrigues me, and I always approach it from a point of a fan first. So even like a lot of the stuff that I have in my collection is because it's beautiful, the art, the visuals, all that stuff, and so I just like stuff that's going to inspire me creatively to challenge myself to get better.
Good.
Cool. Gavin, what do you think?
I think I'm pretty closely aligned with Sam. I mean, I try my hardest to go into the shop and just do that kind of thing that I used to do when I was 12 and would ride my bike up to the store and just kind of like look and like kind of get lost for a minute and see what speaks to me. because I think that kind of gives me some insight into my own tastes a little bit. But it also kind of just, it helps a little bit with like I've never seen this story before, but I'm looking at this cover and it rocks, and I'm gonna pay $5 now. You know, like they sold me on this image or whatever, or maybe I thumbed through the first few pages and I saw like a color palette or a lettering style that I've never seen before. It is always kind of visual first for me, but I also, I don't know. I guess like if we're talking about like back issues too, I like to go on like binges of different artists. So I like every now and then, once my pile's kind of cleared out, I like to go through and be like, okay, like, do I have every pre-Hellboy Mignola issue? Like I collect by artist, so it's like I have like all of Mignola stuff up until Hellboy, which Hellboy's just expensive, so that's why I have the single issues are. And then I also have like all of David Mazzucchelli's Daredevil, and like I don't have all Batman because I've stuff like that. Like I've price budgets, and I have it in the trade. But and then there was like, I think like the most specific thing that I can remember like seeking out going into the store was, I remember I'd seen these essentials. Have you guys ever seen those Marvel essentials, like the black and white, like phone book looking things?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually, my computer is on one. So I'd seen these in my store over and over and over again. And I was like, dude, I need to learn from Jack Kirby. So I went and I bought all of them that were at the store, because they're like $4 a piece. And you get, hundreds of Kirby black and white art. So it is very art driven for me, but I also I have a lot of fun reading the stories, and it's fun to get lost in the store, and I try to do that as much as I can.
Very cool.
Cool. Tom, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, anything that I buy, it's because some aspect of it was like, oh, that looks like it might be good. And it's one of the reasons why I don't really buy anything.
Is it me or did Tom freeze?
He froze.
Yeah, he froze. Yeah, because I was thinking, was that me?
Yeah.
He froze it.
Nobody wants to say it.
I had a power surge. Everything just went.
You guys okay?
Yeah, I'm on my laptop. I have battery power on my laptop. But the power went back on, but my system over there is all shut down right now.
Shit.
Oh, damn.
It happens at least twice a month here in Texas.
Really?
Yeah, it sucks.
Where in Texas? That doesn't happen to me.
Where are you?
I'm in San Antonio.
Oh, I'm in Dallas. I'm in Rockwall, Texas. And
Yeah. Tom just messaged me. He said his power just went out too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's like all kinds of wind and stuff going out. I keep looking out there because it feels
yeah,
like
the wind
something's
is out of
blowing in.
control. It's like I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's like blowing my trash cans across the lawn, and it's crazy.
Oh, there's some big cold front because it was like 90 degrees today. It's supposed to be like 50 tomorrow.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's cold in New York right now.
Yeah. We had 70-degree weather. What was it? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Now it's back down to 50s and the 40s. So
Yeah, I was surprised.
all right. While we wait for Tom, I'll answer the question. So it's funny, Jay. I would say all of the above for me, right?
Okay.
So it's one of those things where I look for stuff that I enjoy, right? Technique is important to me. The writing is important to me. The art is important. It's like it's all one cumulative thing. I mean, I enjoy basically, all of it. But like case in point, the most recent thing that I purchased that I found really, really intriguing was Darwin Cook's Spirit. They just recently released a hardcover. It was a slipcase hardcover from Image, and I just recently discovered Darwin Cook. I knew the name, but within the last 6 months, I picked up just about everything. I picked up Parker. I picked up his Batman in a hardcover. I picked up, what is it? He did something with the Justice League. Something.
New Frontier.
They made a cartoon out of it. It was pretty cool.
I picked that up. I already have the Catwoman omnibus that he did with Brubaker.
Yeah.
Right. I have yet to read it, but I have it. But I read the Spirit one, and that dude was next level, man. That dude was like, his stuff was beautiful, but the other thing that was insane about it was that his work, the different storytelling techniques that he was using. He wasn't just using like your standard storytelling techniques. He was using different types of techniques. He was using different types of panel layouts, 8-panel grids. He did 9 and 6, but he was doing like 8-panel and 12-panel grids. He was doing all these different things, and just the way he told the story as well was a little different. The way, Gavin, you mentioned Mignola. The way Mignola tells the story is also a little different, right? So it's very, very interesting to see that and to see those different techniques that he was using. So yeah, it's nice to run into that sort of thing. So yeah, that's it for me. It's pretty much an all-encompassing thing. So
Who was that? Alan Moore?
no, that was
Darwin Cook.
Darwin Cook.
Darwin Cook. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The Image just came out with a Spirit hardcover. It was a slipcase thing. It was huge, oversized, gorgeous book. Yeah. Tom, you're up, bro. You just like disappeared on us.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not answering this question. So it's for me, anything that I buy, I'm buying for the purpose of it looks entertaining. Like I want to read it. I want to entertain it. I want to be entertained. I want to enjoy it. And I go to the comic book store. That's why I don't really buy much in the way of things online, because for me, the one of the first clues as to whether or not I'm going to like it is the visual. So when I'm at the comic shop, I can flip through the book and be like, somebody's 8-year-old cousin drew that. I don't care what the concept is. I can't look at it, so I can't read it. There's no way. So most of the time, but at the same time, even if it has good art, I'll drop a book in a second if like, this is terrible. This writing is terrible. I can't. It's nice to look at, but it has to be extraordinary to look at for me to like keep maintaining to get the book. One weird example right now is there's a book from the Spawn universe called The Curse of Shirley Jones. I don't know what the fuck is going on. It's like issue 4. I don't know what the hell we're doing yet, but the art is so good. The art is so unique, and the colors are just like, God damn, this visually, you're taking me somewhere. So I'm in. Like, I'm going to do all 5 or 6 or whatever it is. And then like, we'll try this again and see if I'm just missing something along the way. Because it comes out every 2 months also. So it's kind of like long in between. But the visuals are so great that I'm willing to put in the time for the miniseries. But if the art was just sort of mediocre, I would have dropped it probably after the second issue. So anything that's on my shelves is there because I enjoyed it. And then from the enjoyment of like the story and stuff, then there's the extra layer of, well, I like the story, but also look at what this artist is doing. Look at how he's doing these things. And like I bought another Spawn book. I bought Gunslinger Spawn for the purpose of Brett Booth's art. Like I was just like, Brett Booth, just give it to me. It doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. And it turns out that, Todd himself is writing that book, and it wasn't that bad. Like the Booth art was what I was there for, but the story for the character was fine. Now, when it started crossing over into all the other Spawn books and the story was like kind of hopping, because I wasn't buying the crossovers, it got a little strange because I'm like, I'm missing something here. And I look back and it's like, yeah, go read Spawn 288 to figure out. And I'm like, nope, that's not happening. But it's still Brett Booth, so I'm going to watch what he's doing. Because he was doing, now again, I don't know if it's Brett doing this or if this was Todd laying this out in the script, but he was doing a lot of stuff that I have started doing in my comics over the last so many years, which is lots of, instead of just like squares or rectangles like standing up, it's very widescreen. It's very like wide rectangles on the pages, so you get sort of a widescreen look. Which I really like. And as I was reading that or looking at that Brett Booth stuff, I was like, that's what I do. I mean, I've been doing that. I've been setting up my pages for my artists like that. So I really had an appreciation for seeing how he did that. And that's a lot of these other artists is like, once I read the book, then I start to kind of look back at how the story was told and how can I, what did I like about this in Invincible? What did I like about this in Godzilla? What did I like about this in Battle Pope? Whatever, and sort of Tetris all these pieces together and see what comes out of it. But I'll drop a book. You give me a bad issue, I'll drop a book if I'm not feeling the art to catch me in, because sometimes you can have a bad issue and then it'll reel itself back in and go again. But it's got to have something in the art to at least hold on to me if we run into a wall in your story.
All right, cool. Jay, you're up.
Yeah, I get it for all three. Entertainment, find out what's going on, new techniques, and all of it.
You don't know what technique is.
Of course I know what technique is. Of course I know what. Come on, that one hurt me. Oh, you cut me on that one. Son of a mother. Not art technique, but layouts, right? Lettering techniques. Yeah, man. Storytelling techniques. I mean, are they following through act structure? Right? Are they doing string theory? What are they doing? How are they telling the story?
Dude, most comics are string theory now. Most comics are string theory.
Yeah, they are.
That's just reality.
Yeah.
Most reality is string theory too.
Oh wow.
Wow, we just went.
Well, he said it. No, listen. We're born. We wear diapers. We die. We're wearing diapers. I get it. You know what I mean?
It's the circle of life.
There you go, man. All right.
Is that it, Jay? That's all you got?
That's all I got, bro. Because it's
Terrible.
2:00. I got to work tomorrow. I got to be up before the morning. See, it's 2:00. Excuse me. It's 2 hours in, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And since we're 2 hours in, gentlemen, thank you so much. You guys are all awesome. Thank you for being here. We made it to the 2 hour mark, as Jay said. Sam, where can we find you and your work, sir?
You can find me on dutiesworld.com and Catch the Craze podcast every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Cool. Wes?
I've got wes-hartman.com. You can find me on Facebook at Wes Hartman, and I'm on Instagram as The Sasquanaut.
Cool. Gavin?
Yeah, you can find us on Kickfoot Comics on Instagram. It's just at Kickfoot Comics. We have a website that will be out very soon. Just kind of finishing that up. We're launching all at once. So, and then also on the Kickstarter.
All right, cool. Tom?
BigDogInk.com if you want your comics, back issues, trade paperbacks, all that kind of stuff. And we'll be launching the BD16 anthology, the Oz-thology, in 2 weeks, the 28th.
Nice.
Jay?
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find all my social media links on the website, along with bundles of our books. On Friday nights, Comic Book Streamland on YouTube. And on Sunday, Indy Comics Explained, usually with this guy here and this guy here on both of them. And, mine is a little less formal. Excuse me. We're hanging, we're bullshitting, we're ripping on each other. We're having a beer at the bar after the con. That's what that's about there.
All right, cool. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but mostly on Kickstarter. So you go check that out. The Oswald Chronicles currently running. And don't forget, everybody, please check out the show notes. In the show notes are the links to all of these creators' properties, all of their books, and all their campaigns. Please click on those links, pick up those books, all right? Because all of these creators, they're all impassioned, they're all doing great work. So please click on those links, buy those books, and just remember, everyone, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Later.